Hey guys, it's Caleb from Research Methods, and today we're going to make a short video and talk about how to move your data from Typeform to SPSS and the cleaning process that happens in between those two steps. So, number one, we're going to export from Typeform, and we're going to do that in a CSV. And the second step is often overlooked, but it's super important to make sure that SPSS runs data correctly and understands what you're trying to do with the data. So it's really important that if you have dichotomy questions like yes, no, that you change those all the yeses to ones and all the nos to zeros. Or if you have like a scale of high, medium, and low, go ahead and change those to 2, 1, and 0 respectively across all of your participants. And the third step is to import into SPSS. And once we import into SPSS, I'm going to show you guys the data view and the variable view of SPSS so that you can correctly label your data in SPSS. So without further ado, let us hop over to Typeform first. I've already got it pulled up on my screen. Give me a second to log in. Oh, I'm already logged in, never mind. And click on your survey. Let's go to up here, let's go to Analyze. And come over to the left where it says Results. Now hopefully you guys got a lot of survey data and you can't wait to figure out kind of the intricacies of how people fall on whatever you ask them. Up here in the right hand corner, we're going to download our results. If you click on that button, you are allowed to select CSV, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to download a CSV of our data, and bam, there it goes. Okay, so that is it for Typeform. I'm going to exit it out because we won't be using that anymore. So I'm going to open up the download, and I'm opening it up in Excel. You can pull it in Google Sheets. You can do any kind of editor that you like. So this is step 2, clean up the data. So as you can see, this first column of data, SPSS would have no use for that. Okay, these numbers are arbitrary and they're what Typeform gave as like a participant ID, but they're not useful for us. So we're going to go ahead and kill that whole column. Delete all of that. Okay, so the next question is, what is your gender? And it gives 3 options: male, female, or 0. So I'm going to change the males to 1, the females to 0, and other to 2. Let's do that a little bit differently. 2 for males, 1 for female, and 0 for other. Next question, do you believe in God? It is already in 1s and 0s. This is the dichotomy version of the question, so it asks yes or no, and Typeform went ahead and transferred that data into 1s and 0s for us. The next question is, do you believe in God? And this time we did the scale, and so Typeform has changed our scale values into 1s, 0s, and 2s. Other survey providers don't do that, and it will record like high, low, medium, and you would need to change those into respective numbers to make SPSS be able to talk to that data a little bit better. What kind of beans do you like? If I was going to use this question, I'm not, but I would change white to 1, black to 2, blue to 3, just so the SPSS could play with the numbers a little bit easier. I'm not going to use that data field, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that entire column. And what is lorem ipsum? Don't need that one either. And then these last 3 columns, start date, submit date, and network ID. These are our fields that Typeform included in our survey, and I do not need them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that data as well. So once you have completely edited your data set and you have it nice and pretty, I'm going to go ahead and change my column, I guess, names, and I'm going to call this one just gender, God, yes, no, and then God, scale. Just quick little names, and you'll see where those come in handy later. Just quick little names that I can remember it by. SPSS won't be using this, it'll just name it that, so it's not important for like the calculations and the statistics, but it is important for us to be able to label our data in a way that we can come back and read it and understand it later. So from this point, this is step 2 accomplished. We have cleaned up our data, and now we're going to head to step 3, which is import our data into SPSS. So I'm going to pull SPSS up right now. Bear with me just a moment, because I want to show you guys there's a few pop-ups when you open SPSS, and I remember the first time I was in SPSS, I was like, what are all these pop-ups, and like, what do they mean? Do I click no? Do I click yes? And in the end, the pop-ups don't really matter a lot, and they honestly just kind of make it a little bit confusing when you walk into SPSS. So right here is a GUI for you to be able to import SPSS. I'm gonna immediately exit that. Okay. If there's any other yes/no boxes that pop up, use your best judgment. Google them. You can ask me a question of what you should select, but it truly won't matter much for our purposes today. Okay, so this is SPSS. Hopefully you guys have seen this before. As I promised, I would show you two things: data view and variable view. Excuse me. And so right now we are in variable view, and I'm going to go ahead and down here. You see down here, I'm going to switch to data view. Okay. Right now it's empty, so you can't really see a lot of differences. But when we start populating this data, we're going to have to come back here and change a few things. So just wanted to show you where that was at. So let's go grab our data from our Excel sheet, and I'm just going to copy and paste. You can import a whole file, you can copy and paste, you can move data to SPSS whichever way you like. I prefer this method because this is the way I was classically trained, so this is the way I've been doing it. So I'm going to paste my data in, and notice when I do, the column names that I had in my Excel sheet did not transfer over. Instead, they're called variable 1, 2, and 3. We are currently in data view, and this is where you can manually import data. You could just keep typing, you could type 4, 4, 4, 4 if you had another column, okay? So we're going to go ahead and delete that back out. Okay, so now that we have imported our data correctly, we need to go over and we need to classify all of this data correctly, okay? So the variable 1 for me was gender. Variable 2 for me was God, belief, yes, no. And then the third one was God, belief, scale. You will have a few more variables in this, and just give them a good name so that you can come back and remember them later. It's very important to get those names that make sense to you. They don't need to make sense to anybody else, just to you. Okay? And the final part of this video will be to decide what type of measure we should be giving these variables. And for that, I'm going to let you guys do a little searching on your own, but I will show you where to get it. So in variable view, down here, we have labeled our 3 variables. They are numeric type, the width you can change, you can classify all this stuff. But the only thing you really need to do is change what kind of measurement this is. Scale, ordinal, and nominal. And if you don't know what these are, do not hesitate to Google them out. Yep, I grabbed the top link and have been given not a really good guide, but go to Google and get yourself a good guide for what is the difference between ordinal, nominal, and scale. Maybe that will be a little bit better, huh? Here we go. Okay, so here you can get a really good breakdown. I went ahead and searched for this and read it before I made this video, just as a refresher for myself to make sure I didn't talk about data incorrectly. Don't be scared to run over and just review before you go ahead and label these variables in SPSS, because what you choose for your measure has far-reaching effects for when you actually start running statistics and running correlations, running all these tests inside of SPSS. You need to make sure that you have classified the measurement correctly. Okay? So this short little video, I hope you guys found it informational. I hope you found it concise and to the point, and hope you guys are having a great day. Watch the next video and see you soon. Bye bye.